In a remote cabin at Cayuga Lake, upstate New York, 1991. 4 gunshots ring out. 2 teenagers run into the dawn. 43-year-old Bruce Kellogg is dead. 19-year-old Denver McDowell admits to pulling the trigger, but says he was put up to it by the victim's wife. 26-year-old school teacher Lorie Kellogg. Lorie says it was all Denver's idea, but in court they are both found guilty of second-degree murder. They each received 25 years to life. At the time, there were rumors they were having an affair. But for the last 22 years, Lorie and Denver have done nothing but blame each other. If Lorie is innocent, how did she, a group of teenagers, and a gun end up at a murder scene? Behind the walls of the Bedford Hills Correctional Facility in New York, I'm going to ask Lorie Kellogg some difficult questions. I'm Candice DeLong. As an FBI agent, I worked on the front line for the world's most powerful law enforcement agency. I went undercover, I trailed terrorists, and I interviewed notorious killers. It's my job to understand the people who others cannot comprehend. Lorie Kellogg has claimed innocence from the day she was arrested in the summer of 1991. She claims to be a victim of teenage lies. The teens say Lorie told them to murder her husband. The prosecution maintains the school teacher manipulated her young friends into doing her dirty work. And Lorie's motive? Spousal abuse. On that, at least both sides agree. Lorie's relationship with her husband, Bruce Kellogg, is critical to this case.
Lorie, the name of the show is Facing Evil. You've done that in your life. You have faced evil.
Quite a bit, actually.
Well, let's start with your childhood.
Mom and Dad divorced due to a very violent marriage. Every time that my father would beat my mother loud enough for the neighbors to hear about it and complain, the landlords would ask us to leave.
At the tender age of 16, Lorie craves what she never had, a perfect family.
Do you remember having dreams about what you wanted out of life?
I wanted to grow up and have my happily ever after.
And that's when Bruce Kellogg walks in.
I was actually sitting with a friend, and in walked the most handsome man I'd ever seen in my life. And
You're still smiling about that memory.
you know, I still love that man that I fell in love with that day. The man I thought he was. That was my Prince Charming.
If you believe in fairy tales, you're bound to be disappointed. Lorie is young and vulnerable. Her Prince Charming has all the power in their relationship.
Very quickly, he changed how I dressed. He told me what to wear, how to wear my hair. Perfume was not allowed except for the company Christmas party. Jewelry, not acceptable. When he came in the door at night, he had a green ceramic coffee mug. If the cup touched the table, it was gonna be a good night. If the cup slammed on the table, someone was gonna get hurt.
Incidental details like this show me Lorie is telling the truth.
Damn it, Lorie.
Abused women have a heightened situational awareness, like soldiers in a war zone. And Lorie has the battle scars to prove it.
Let's see. I've had a broken collarbone. My tailbone has damage to it.
From what
being
action?
kicked with steel toe work boots. I was beaten into a miscarriage for my first child. My jaw has had 2 surgeries to repair it. That is as good as it's ever going to get.
Did you tell anyone? Did you tell a doctor? Did you go to an ER? Did you call the police?
I slipped and fell. Classic victimization alibis for the abuser.
In my experience, every time an abuse victim makes up an excuse or remains silent, they just buy themselves another beating. Lorie Kellogg paints a dreadful picture of life with her husband, Bruce. Then, after 10 years of apparent psychological and physical abuse, Bruce ends up dead, shot by a teenager named Denver McDowell. A court found Lorie ordered the killing, but she denies it. What Lorie has never denied is this: she had plenty of reasons to hate her husband.
Did you ever think of leaving? It's an obvious question to someone that's not going through what you went through.
I tried twice. The second time I tried to leave, he put a loaded gun in my mouth and asked me if I thought he'd pull the trigger.
He put the gun in your mouth? Do you recall what you were thinking or feeling?
I actually thought this time he was going to do it. Thank you. When I shook my head yes, slightly, that I thought he was going to pull the trigger, he said, no, I wouldn't waste 35 cents on a bullet. He said, but if you ever try to leave me again, I will beat you until you can't move and you can't speak.
Lorie, now 26 years old, has some support from several neighborhood teenage girls who often hung out at her house. Lorie was their babysitter when they were younger, and they stayed in touch. Lorie says the girls knew about Bruce.
2 of the girls knew that my husband had hit me, and they said they were tired of seeing me this way, and they were afraid for my children.
The girls had boyfriends who visited too. One of them is Denver McDowell.
They used to play this game, 101 ways to get rid of Bruce.
Get rid of or kill?
Kill, they would use different terms for it, and I would tell them, that's just wrong, guys. That's not nice. Don't, just stop. They would come up with crazy things. They would say, well, I could always loosen the lug nuts on his tire.
Did you think they were kidding?
Yeah, you know, I thought they were just trying to distract me from thinking about the fact that here I am and I'm still hanging on.
According to Lorie, there's another reason the girls are so willing to play this game. They had a terrible secret, which they revealed to her on June 8th, 1991.
A couple of the girls came to me and told me they needed to talk to me about something really serious, really important. When I asked her what she was talking about, she said she was talking about all the times that Bruce molested her. Stories that started when they were 7, 8, 9 years old.
Lorie Kellogg claims on June 8th, 1991, 2 neighborhood teens accused her husband, Bruce, of sexually molesting them. Within 24 hours, her husband is dead, and Lorie is arrested for plotting his murder.
I'm a victim of child sexual abuse. My father molested me when I was a child.
How long did that go on?
From ages 4.5 till 9, when my parents separated. Very, very early on in my relationship with Bruce, I told him about my history I had zero tolerance for things of this nature. These girls started to tell me stories. The first thing that came out of my mouth was, I have to confront Bruce with this, and he has to be able to convince me that this didn't happen.
The confrontation cannot take place immediately. Bruce is spending the weekend at their cabin 200 miles away in New York State. And it's already nightfall. But rather than wait for his return, Lorie decides she'll drive 4 hours through the night.
I gotta tell you, there's some things that don't make sense to the story if you're in your right and rational mind. But I wasn't.
Sounds like you had an overwhelming need to seek out and confront Bruce about what these girls had told you. So what happens next?
The girls' boyfriends, who now know what's happened from the girls, have said, well, you're not going up there alone. We have to go and protect you and make sure that everybody's safe.
They weren't afraid of Bruce?
No, Denver wasn't.
Around 1 a.m., Lorie, the two girls, and their boyfriends take off in Bruce's truck.
You're driving 3.5, 4 hours, long time. What kind of conversations were going on inside the car?
All I'm seeing is scenes that these girls have described to me playing out in my head. I'm seeing these girls being touched and molested by my husband. How could I have allowed this to happen to them? The same things that happened to me, I should have kept them safe. I should have known.
At some point during the drive, Denver pulls out Bruce's handgun that he stole from the house.
All of a sudden, out of the corner of my eye, I see Denver with a gun in his hand. He was just admiring it, playing with it, and the mother in me spoke, don't play with that. That's dangerous.
The fact Lorie drives all through the night after an emotionally stressful day tells me she was running on adrenaline. The question is, what fueled it? Anger or revenge?
Did you and the kids have a plan for what would happen when you got to the cabin?
I thought I was just simply going to park the truck and go in and talk to Bruce. I see my husband's company truck, and reality slapped me in the face. Panic set in. I'm driving his truck without permission. I'm not gonna leave this place. This time, he's not just gonna beat me, I'm gonna die.
Then why not turn the car around and go home?
That's what I was doing. I made a 3-point turn in the truck. All of a sudden, the door opened, and Denver jumped out. Then his girlfriend jumped out. And then I heard pop, 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 pop. And I just stopped breathing.
Bruce Kellogg is shot 4 times in the head and dies instantly. Lorie never gets a chance to talk to Bruce. It must have been an interesting drive home. 4 hours with her husband's killer.
On the trip home, did Denver at any time and his girlfriend say, we shot Bruce, Bruce is dead, anything like that you recall?
I recall no conversation, nothing from the trip home at all. I was curled up in a ball, and the next thing I remember, I was home.
I find Lorie's complete loss of recall here troubling. It's possible to lose memory through trauma or shock, but Lorie had no trouble giving me details of her drive to the murder. Is she hiding something? In the early hours of June 10th, 1991, Bruce Kellogg is shot 4 times while sleeping in a remote cabin in upstate New York. The shooter is 19-year-old Denver McDowell. Lorie Kellogg says he jumped out of her car and shot her husband before she had a chance to stop the vehicle.
You
need to do it, you need to shoot him.
In court, Denver testifies that Lorie enticed him to do it.
He said that I promised him $500 and a 1978 pickup truck.
Is that true?
It's ludicrous. I didn't have $3 in my wallet and none in the bank.
Why do you think Denver killed your husband?
He saw himself as a great protector. When he found out that Bruce victimized his girlfriend, he was angry, and he felt that he should have protected her from this happening. But it wasn't the answer. Violence is never the answer. There should have been another way.
To me, 4 shots into a sleeping man does infer Denver was angry.
One thing that came up is that you and Denver were having an intimate relationship. Is that true?
There was never anything between me and this boy. I don't know where this fantasy or delusion came from, but I didn't know this boy except as the boyfriend of a girl that I loved and helped raise.
For pulling the trigger, Denver receives 25 to life, the same as Lorie. The other teens serve shorter sentences and are all now free.
Did you ask Denver to kill your husband?
No, I did not.
Were you present when your husband was killed?
No, I was not.
Did you have anything at all to do with Bruce's murder?
Candice, I had nothing to do with my husband's death, with his murder.
And you did not know it was going to happen by someone else's hand?
No, I did not. No, I did not.
"22 years behind bars will change anyone. I've seen it create monsters out of people and people out of monsters. In Lorie's case, if she ever had a killer's mindset, it's long gone.
What would you like to say to Bruce's family?
I did not do the things that you accused me of. But I am so, so sorry that your son and your brother were taken from you. And I pray that someday you'll find it in your heart to forgive me for anything you feel that I've done to hurt you.
At the heart of this crime is the relationship between Lorie and Bruce. Lorie believes had she spoken up sooner, that fateful night in the summer of '91 would just be a bad dream.
I've been locked up longer than the internet has existed, but they tell me there are a lot of sites for people who are searching for someone to hear them. Find someone, go to a church, go to the police, go to the hospital, go to a friend, tell someone the truth.
Would society be safe, Lorie, if you were out?
Society was safe when I was out. I'm no threat to anyone. The only person I was ever a threat to was myself, because I didn't know how to keep myself safe or take care of myself.
Despite her claims of abuse, Lorie's husband was probably the only sense of security she ever had. It's understandable she wants to remember that Prince Charming who first rode into her life at Sweet 16.
I want you to imagine, just for a minute, that I am Bruce. Look me in the eyes and tell me what you'd like to say to me.
Honey, I'm so sorry that everything happened the way it did. If I had known, if I had had any control over this situation, it wouldn't have happened.
Lorie is eligible for parole in June 2016. I would like to see her walk out of prison tomorrow. I think she has served enough time, innocent or guilty.